So wonderful. So we managed, we are live. Hello, hello. Again, thank you so much for joining Piece of a Puzzle with Yes Exclusive Flowers. This is Sarah Campbell from Intrigue Designs from the USA. We are super pumped, super happy that you made it, that you have the time to actually come and join us on our very special talk that we have initiated now over lockdown. And I think on the one side, it is obviously a blessing for us because otherwise you would not have the time actually to talk to us. But on the other hand, obviously we are all faced with a lot of challenges right now. Everyone who is in the sort of flower event industry, because everything was put on hold now during the time that we are in lockdown. So, but first of all, thank you so much for taking time to speak to our audience and to just maybe share also some experience and some of your background. And maybe this is where I would like to start. We know you, we follow you, we know what you are doing, and I know that there are a lot of people that know you too. But maybe for the ones who do not entirely can put your name and like your face together, if you can just briefly explain like what you're doing, that would be great.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. I kind of was surreal when I realized I am going to be talking to South Africa this morning.
Yeah.
Over time that we could have had this global, like I know this is a terrible thing, but if there's ever a time that for this global pandemic to happen, now is the time, because even though we are secluded and we are, we're all whatever, we're all quarantined, right? All over the world.
Yes.
But we're still connected. Like I still get to see your face, Elfie, and your face, Sylvia. And right now you're in my living room.
Yes, it's amazing actually. I mean, on one hand, it's like we are so small, like the world has become so small. But yet we cannot travel, right? So it is a bit of a contradicting thing.
It's also interesting. Most of us are so much in the past, so much taking focus on our offices, how it looks like when you get visitors, things like that, that you have the best view, the best address. And now everybody comes to your couch, you invite them to your living room. And that's became quite a normality the last couple of weeks.
Well, I kind of like it right now. Definitely, I don't love that business has been on a standstill. I don't love that cash flow is not coming in, but I love these moments of quietness, and I love the connections like this right here. So, all right. So amazing. Back to your original question. You want to know, did you ask me how I got started? What did you ask me?
No, just first of all, before how you get started, what is it that you're doing? And like,
yes.
So that people can
go over like how this all started, actually, because that's an interesting story.
So as those of you who don't know me, you're going to learn very quickly. I am a busy individual and I have a whole lot of fun, which means there's like 17 ideas happening at one time right up here in my brain. And I do skip around. So if you're a little bit ADHD, then we're going to get along just fine. All right. So let's talk about what I'm doing now. So I am a wedding florist. My focus is on high-end luxury weddings, not the ultra luxury. So I like to define that. There is kind of that average wedding budget. Then there is those like the kings and queens and princesses and like Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. I'm not doing those weddings. I'm doing these weddings in this section here with wedding budgets of anywhere from $60,000 to about $500,000. And I have found that in that luxury wedding market, that is where I excel, because I'm working with clients that they have the budgets to create some of these beautiful things, these things that inspire me. But not only that, they have the trust in hiring a professional, which is a really big piece of the puzzle. So they're not asking me to define every little thing I'm doing. They know they've hired a creative and they want to give me the space to create. So that's why that is why I felt, I didn't mean to cut you off. That's why I felt so comfortable in this space. So that's kind of where I jumped into. I didn't jump into the wedding world right there, but that's where I found my niche. And then I started teaching workshops and classes. My first workshop I ever taught was, I call it very simple, but it's simple compared to what I do now. It was not a simple workshop. First workshop, we focused on floral walls, floral chandeliers, and those large scale centerpieces. I tend to gravitate towards tall, over the top designs. I like a design that is crescent shaped, so it's rounded on the top and kind of has two pigtails on the side. That's my favorite design. You'll see me do it over and over again. For bouquets, I tend to focus on a more elongated bouquet. Yeah. And in fact, in 2018, I toured the entire United States. We did, I don't know if everyone knows we have 50 states, but here in the United States.
Yeah, we have seen that. So I know we also, the most of us know that you have 160,000 followers on Instagram. So there's a lot of people out there also coming from Africa, you know, and tell us a little bit about that. Yes, I think that's interesting.
So about the tour?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the tour started, and I want to say it really blew up because of Instagram. So thank you, Instagram. It started in 2017. So I host a biannual floral conference called the Intrigue Experience Conference, which is really incredible. In fact, we've had designers from Africa fly all the way to the U.S. to join us. It's a great conference, and we had hosted it for 3 times in Maryland, which is my home state. And we decided that we wanted to take this tour on the road, but we didn't know where to take it. We didn't know where we could move it to that people would still come to this conference. So we did this marketing ploy, and I tend, marketing and the business side of my business is really where I excel. So I come up with big ideas for marketing. And this big idea, it was between me and my studio manager at the time. We decided we were going to roll out a national tour of all 50 states, and we were going to see which one sold. We rolled it out on a Friday night about 7 o'clock, and we were going to see which tour stops sold tickets. On Monday morning, we were going to close all the other tour stops and then go and do these small workshops in these states that had sold. That way we could get to know the market, get to know designers, and build a little infrastructure for ourselves before we brought this big conference. Well, I call it a big conference. There's only 80 to 100 designers at the conference, but it feels big because there's thousands and thousands of flowers. So anyway, so let me just hop back. So Friday at 7 o'clock, we roll out this tour, and oh my gosh, there's a fly in my house. This is real life, right, guys? There's
just life, you know.
It's been here for like 2 days, and I cannot kill this thing. I'm sorry. I know we shouldn't kill nature, but this fly has got to go. All right, so 7 o'clock Friday night, we roll out the tour. Of course, you know, Monday, we're not really supposed to be looking at it, but I'm an entrepreneur, and we look at our sales every single day, right? Every day. By Saturday, we had sold almost over the whole country. I couldn't believe it. By Sunday afternoon, we had sold in every single state, including Puerto Rico, because that was an accident. We accidentally added Puerto Rico onto our list.
You occupied accidentally.
So funny, I tell this story and I talk about how I accidentally sold out a national tour. And so anyway, Monday we come in and I am in shock. Like, I realized I had to figure out what I was going to do. Either, you know, at that time I'm still running my high-end floral business, and we were doing, you know, 80 plus, 100 plus weddings a year with a full team. I couldn't do that and go on this national tour at the same time. So I kind of wrestled with it a little bit. I thought maybe I would just cancel the tour because it was kind of ridiculous. I don't have time in my life to go travel around the country. Or I could just do it. And as I started thinking about it, I realized, when again in my life, in my career, am I going to have the opportunity to reach out and actually face-to-face get to know designers all over the country?
Yes.
So I talked to my team, and we decided that we were going to halt wedding sales immediately for the year 2018. We had 12 weddings on the books already, and they were beautiful weddings. So we stopped with those 12 weddings, and we went on this tour. It was amazing. Two ladies joined me. My daughter, Skylar, who was our photographer, videographer, and then Jordan, who is my consultant slash marketing, sales, communications. She's now full-time with me. But the two of them came with me on this tour. We called them the Intriguettes, and we bounced around the country teaching wedding workshops alongside another company called Styled Shoots Across America. And they brought together photographers. So the founder of Styled Shoots Across America would reach out to the photographers, invite them in. So we had this floral workshop doing these beautiful wedding design pieces. The stylist would come in, style a wedding shoot, and then 15 to 20 photographers would come in every week to shoot the work. It has been an incredible experience. So here I am 3 years later.
Yeah, and that's amazing, an amazing story. And this is congratulations. Yeah, and it shows that it is a story like a lot of other people's stories, that when you're brave enough to pick up a piece from the ground and just go
run with it. And you don't know like what is happening. I mean, you did not know whether it would succeed or not, but you were just maybe going on a road trip around the country, and you did not know where it ended, like where it ends, you know. So it's amazing.
It's a little bit similar to our flower track, as we also started somehow with a totally different approach on a different way. And like also, as I say, 5 years later, we are here in Africa trading flowers. Nobody actually would have believed it, like not even the two of us.
That we're gonna do this one time. So and especially in this time right now where we have a lot of uncertainty. I think it's great that you share a story like this to people who maybe are more depressed, or like don't know what to do right now, or think maybe there's no silver lining on the horizon, because it is a difficult time. It is a tough time. I mean, as you also said, no income stream. I mean, we do not know for how long this is going to last. Everyone who doesn't have an online business is struggling. So the struggle is real, but it's great that you are uplifting spirits and just sharing your experience. That's great to hear.
Yes, and also maybe if I can come to one part, like right now, maybe also people are interested, like how are you coping personally with the situation that we are in, and right at the beginning, because America also is quite more ahead than we are with the curve than we are here. So we are 5 weeks in lockdown. We still are not actually in already. We are in preparation of the situation of the peak. So I saw right at like a couple of weeks ago already that you did something very generous, that you opened your wisdom and your knowledge for everyone to share the COVID-19 recovering, florist recovering, like education program, or how to call it correctly. I saw this is very, very generous, and not a lot of people would do. And also this morning I spoke to one of our clients actually, that she wanted to make sure that she will be right in time, and she said, you know what I like, I'm a really fan of her, I like that she's sharing. And I think that qualifies you amongst a lot of other people.
You know, when it comes to sharing, I get questioned about this all the time. First, the main reason I share is because I am fail at keeping secrets. I'm just not good at it. If you're going to have a surprise party, do not tell me because I will tell everybody. Right now, I'm under a non-disclosure for a project I'm working on, and it is the hardest thing to keep this secret every day. Like even right now, I want to tell you. It's so hard for me to keep a secret. So I found that sharing comes naturally to me. And I have to say, when you share, you grow more than what you're giving. So, and I don't know what the reasoning behind that is, but I can tell you everyone that I know that gives and shares, they start to grow leaps and bounds beyond where they would have been if they kept everything so tight and close. You know, I even teach people how to, you know, I run an online educational resource where we have, you know, thousands of dollars in classes and workshops. And when new designers are coming in and they want to learn how to teach your own workshops, not new designers, but experienced designers that want to share their knowledge, I help them to learn how to build that portfolio and start to sell that experience. And in a time like this, when, you know, we can't physically sell our products or design our weddings, like that's another way to bring in income. But I got sidetracked. You asked me. You asked me how I was coping with this, and so the first few weeks, and I don't know how many weeks we're into lockdown. I actually started as soon as the chatter started and they cut off the flights to Europe. I decided that day that I was going to just start quarantining myself. So I've been quarantined, I think, since the 9th or the 10th of March. Wow. And the first couple weeks, I was really sad. I felt this heaviness. I felt the weight of the floral industry on my shoulders. And, you know, nobody else was giving me this pressure, but I felt this pressure because I knew that our floral community was going to struggle unlike anyone else, because caterers can still sell food and we can still sell flowers, but it's just not the same. People aren't clamoring, you know, to buy all the flowers like they did to buy all the toilet paper.
Yeah, but also like the flower industry, particularly here in South Africa, is very, very, very much related to events, because we do not have a lot of flower shops like what you know from Europe, right? So the most of our flowers, of our florists, actually are event florists, and they are very much related to events. And even when the lockdown is, we have 5 stages. We are still in stage 5 now. Even if maybe in stage 2 or 1, gatherings are allowed again. Nobody at the moment know when will that be, but it can probably be by end of the year, or even only by beginning of next year. So this is a real threat for our florists, because they have at the moment no alternative. That's why we also try to give them hope by speaking to people like you, and maybe also others from the flower industry, to give them an idea maybe what is possible, what they can do, and even if they just educate themselves in this time when they have a little bit of resource to survive the time, you know.
So we started playing with this fun little term. We call it binge for your business. You know, we all Netflix binge, right? You've Netflixed in South Africa, right? Yeah. So with this COVID-19 florist recovery program that we put together, we're encouraging everyone to binge for their business. You know, watch as many tutorials, learn new marketing, really dive into how you can make the most of the business when we come out of this, because we will come out of this. This will not last forever, but we will. You said maybe events starting the end of the year, which kind of shocked me a little bit. I was hoping events starting in like July, August.
Not here.
Not where you are. Oh, that's so painful.
We are. I'm very certain, or we're very certain that it's not going to be before the end of the year.
Also, when you see the events, like as we have the event company as well, so we see where the events actually are moved to. At the begin, people were thinking they move it to the end of the year, like October, November. But for now, they start moving the events from this year to next year, and this is going on all over. Yeah.
Well, I personally, I guess I can feel that. My daughter was scheduled to get married in September, and she's a wedding photographer. Her husband, or oh my gosh, her fiance, her fiance.
You are already one step ahead.
So they've been out of work because neither one of them are working during this quarantine time. So just on a financial reason, they had to move the wedding until 2021 just so that they can prepare. And it's a little heartbreaking to have to do that, but I understand a young couple like losing 2 months, 3 months worth of income when you just got started in your early 20s. That's tough.
Yeah, we even have, we have clients that were hit so hard. They were working on cruise ships and they were both laid off and lost their jobs, So basically they had to cancel the entire wedding just because of the current situation. Or if they're gonna have a celebration again, they don't know when if this is gonna happen because
very sad. Because even though that we offered them to postpone the wedding, they said they know that they are losing mostly the half of the money, but they need this other half that they get out as a refund to survive for the next month. That's sad.
That is so tough. Yeah, that really is heartbreaking.
Yeah, tell us a little bit also. When you was talking about what you liked very much, I remember what is my favorite thing, what you have done, and I loved it. This rainbow snake with the asparagus, that was amazing. And you know, I can tell you a secret. I saw this with you, and I actually started importing that colored asparagus because for South Africa. When I saw that, what you have done out of that, actually, that started at that point. I was talking you a bit.
So that has been, out of everything I've designed in my career, and I've designed a lot, that has been the most popular. I call it, I don't know who tagged it the tornado, but I've now been calling it the tornado. And this year, well, we're currently on pause, but we had been touring, doing an installation tour and teaching the tornado or the snake at every single tour stop. And it is hands down the crowd favorite.
Can I tell you something? Actually enlarged it so much that I can actually see a little bit more how it's done. So, the technique, yeah. So I can totally understand that people want to know how to do that.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, and it looks airy and beautiful because of all of the colors that blend so much in, and the light. It's so light. It looks so light. Sometimes you have this big, heavy looking installation somewhere, and you feel like, whoo, they are quite too heavy to look at it, and this is like it's like flowing in the wind,
Oh, I love. Did you see the video where I wrapped it around myself and ran away with it?
Yes, and you know what? Also, what I think a big part of that your success is that you are such a natural, like also a little bit a bubbly person, but very natural, and you don't care about what people say, and like as you say, you take that thing around your neck and you run away and you dance and thing, and I think that makes people happy, and they and they feel connected. I think that's what it is.
Generally, of course, we don't have to speak about personal branding, but your personality is just so captivating, which is also refreshing to see, specifically in a time like this, where a lot of people maybe have a different outlook on their future. So we are very, very happy again that you are here. So that's great.
Yeah, tell us a little bit maybe also about your plans for the future, so that maybe people can be interested in what you are doing. And there was questions if you ever would come to Africa.
We already got that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to come to South Africa. That would be such a treat. In fact, last night, I actually was sitting with my son on the couch, and he just happened to be watching this YouTube video about South Africa.
Oh, really? What a coincidence.
Yeah, great coincidence. So, all right, my plans for the future. Well, we do have something in the works that I'm hoping I can announce in the next couple weeks, a couple days. It's killing me.
Tell us. Tell us.
Won't tell anyone.
Tell us.
I give into peer pressure so easily, so don't ask me again. I'll give in.
But you told us you can't keep a secret. Why you can't keep a secret?
So for the future, so we have this, what is it? In July, hopefully, provided we're open back up in July, we actually have a tour taking designers to a peony farm in Alaska, which grows the most amazing, the big peonies like this large, bigger than my face. We are hosted by Alaska Beauty Peony, and there's this beauty peony co-op that is on the side of this cliff overlooking the Kekemek Bay, which has these massive mountains and glaciers coming down. It is like an experience like nothing else. So that's what we have in July. And then in the fall, in November, we're going to be back.
Get out of the country by that time. So that's why we are jealous, because otherwise we would join.
I would love to have you join. It's going to be we've got some great people coming with us. All right. So then in November, we start back up with the installation tour, where we're hitting 3 cities, possibly 4 cities here in the United States, being Orlando, New Orleans, and Baltimore, Maryland, which is my home area. And then we're unfortunately having to reschedule our San Diego, California. So I think that one's going to get pushed to the fall as well. So other than that, I feel like I am in a time right now where I need to do a little bit of reinvention like everybody else, because I need to make sure that not only is my own financial success taken care of, but I want to make sure I'm helping my fellow designers to come up with ways that we can still continue to share flowers, support our flower farms, and grow our businesses, even if we can't do it like we did 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that is a very important message that we all can, when we start actually working again, that we can share our local farms wherever we are, because they need our support, and our local companies, and we just don't know. Yesterday we've got a message that our flower market will open on the 1st of May again. Just like half an hour before we started the conversation, it was withdrawn because nobody knows exactly if this is permitted or not. So the little silver stripe on the horizon that we had yesterday is gray for now. But not, yeah. Yeah, and you know, a lot of people missing flowers so much. You can't imagine. There's other countries where they still have flowers even in lockdown. You know, they are be able to access flowers. Obviously in a smaller scale of trade, but there is maybe flowers in shops or wherever you, like in a food shop or wherever you may be able to buy them. But here there's no single stem of flowers for the last 5 weeks. Yeah, nothing.
So are there any, are there local flowers that grow there?
Yes.
I know you guys have protea. I don't know what your growing season is for protea, but are there flower farms in South Africa?
Yes, there's lots of flower farms here. There's a lot of protea farms. We live here in the Garden Route. The Garden Route is one of the areas where we have lots of protea farms, and we have farms they grow chrysanthemums or even foliage. We have farms they grow sunflowers, dahlias, lisianthus. We have a lot of that, and they all have to cut flowers, chop their heads, and throw them away.
Oh, so I did something kind of out of the ordinary last week, and I'm actually getting ready to do it again this week. I don't know if you saw, we did these surprise boxes where I connected with a local flower farm not too far from me, and I organized with them a way. Well, they figured out how to ship the flowers, but they were able to bundle their flowers into boxes and ship them directly.
Yeah.
Is that an option in South Africa?
Not at the moment. I saw that, and it inspired me actually to think about that. You inspire me more than you even know. So, and we were thinking about that, but this is not possible. But at the moment, and this is really difficult, there's only one exception, that you can trade or send flowers, not even trade, because it's not a trade, it's actually sending flowers. This is for funerals, and you have to apply for a special funeral service permission. So everyone included in this chain has to have this permission, means the farm has to have this permit. We as a trader have to have the permit, and the florist has to have the permit, as well as the transportation company. And this is unbelievable. And we also trade in preserved flowers, which we luckily have actually like certain boxes in store here at our premise. And we sent, for example, on Monday boxes out for funerals on the weekend. They have not even been on the place arrived, because they go on road. There's too many roadblocks where they all have to be controlled, and it is very, very difficult. And so that's why we hope for the next stage that flowers, horticulture, and products can be accessible. Yes, yeah. But because you go down, it reminds me, you have like special trademark that we were talking just before we started actually our conversation. Tell us, what is it?
So when I originally started branding myself, the brand that was me, that was Intrigue, was this, my smile. And then I started to get lots of compliments and comments and requests for the apron that I wore all the time. And it was an apron I found in a little bitty shop in like West Virginia years ago. So we started making these aprons, and this is the apron that I wear all the time. I've got it like 5 different patterns. I don't know if I can stand up here, but it is super cute and super flirty. And you know, for me, the reason I started wearing this apron is because a lot of times when we're on the design floor, we are a hot mess. So if I'm going to do something on social media, or I've got a client coming in, I can dress myself up really pretty and easily by just throwing on an apron. Let me try to stand up. I don't know if this will work.
Yes,
All right,
yeah, perfect. That's amazing. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is exactly.
So I usually wear a dress, but we're at home. So I want to show you a secret. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I've got my yoga pants under my dress because I was doing a little workout before we were doing this. That's the fun stuff you can do when you're working from home and nobody knows.
And usually you don't have to tell anyone.
Exactly. And
but remember, I can't keep a secret, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what also is interesting? This apron, it has a very special, it transports a special feeling, in particular to me, because it reminds me to the maybe 50s, 60s, the last century. And this gives me a little bit of feeling of moms and great mothers, you know, like this good advice and this warm feeling that you have with when you remember them, you know, because they had all these aprons and and it's like scent memory, or like when you have food, like memories like that. And this is like a visual memory.
Well, I'm glad. I can say my grandma did not wear one of these, but if she was still with me, I'd be sending her one.
No, it doesn't. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't look old-fashioned. It has
a different class. Like it has a certain class on it.
I love grandma patterns. That is my favorite look. Like if I ever say you're wearing a grandma pattern, that is the biggest, highest compliment, because that's my favorite style. I just think grandma patterns to me are patterns that grandma would have wore when she was 20.
Yeah.
And she still loves it.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, that's correct. That's right. But coming
thank
back
you for
again,
having me. This has been fun.
but I wanted to actually tell you also something about the proteas, because you were asking that, and I know in America a lot of people are very, very keen about proteas, because we learned that actually when we hosted Karen Tran's first masterclass here in South Africa, when she saw the proteas, because we gave her a bunch of proteas as a welcome, as a welcome gift. And she said, oh my God, she was almost like she couldn't breathe. And when because it was like about 20 or 30 stems. And then when she told us that the price that you are paying in America for one like protea, we could understand actually like why she valued this so much. But also the protea is our national flower. I don't know if a lot of people know about that. I mean, South Africans know about that, but it's our national flower, and it comes in very different varieties and colors. We have king proteas in white and pink and red, and we have a lot of others like pin cushions. They all belong. Yeah.
Please don't drop that.
Maybe another, maybe we can do, instead of a peony tour one day, a protea tour.
That would be amazing.
Shut up. That would be amazing. I have to say, I am obsessed with protea, and they are tricky to work with. They're not the easiest flowers to work with. But part of what makes them so exciting is they don't look like everything else. And a lot of our flowers, everything's got its own personality, but ranunculus and tulips and roses, they're all just kind of round and pretty, right? But protea comes in, it's like, bam, this big personality, and it owns its own territory. So I think that a protea tour in South Africa would be amazing.
Exactly. So we don't know when, but
it's going to happen. Yes. Cool.
Definitely.
Just maybe because I think also a lot of people who are following us for who are really florists, maybe I don't know how you got into floristry, like how you what made you go into this field, but also is there like a teaching or a training body generally, like where you have to take a certificate or lessons? Because as we know, in Europe, it's very organized. Here in South Africa, basically anyone can become a florist if you have a passion for it. How is it on your side?
Well, here in America, it is very similar to South Africa. There are some states that require that you get a license, but for the most part, if you have a passion for flowers, you can be a florist. So I was actually a wedding planner, an event designer and wedding planner. And that's how I got my start into florals. And then this is a long story we don't have time for today. Another day, definitely, but not today.
Okay.
So
thank you.
I went from wedding planning, and then I folded floral design into my business, and then eventually saw that, okay, I needed to make the cut and focus exclusively on flowers so that I could preserve these relationships with the other planners I wanted to work with. Because if you're trying to straddle both worlds, it's really difficult. And yes, anyone can be a florist here in America, but it's only the ones that are truly passionate, that want to pour all their time and energy into these flowers, that really make it a booming career. So I like the way that you do it in South Africa and we do it here in America. I don't dislike Europe by any means, but I feel like there's a level of love and passion that designers that come out of this scenario have that is different than the analytical studies of needing to pass a test and follow the rules. I don't follow any rules. I know a few of them, and I'm just not a rule follower. So I don't know that if I was in Europe, I don't think I ever would have come to floristry.
We are well known for breaking the floral rules, not the rules in total, but the floral rules. Some people like that, some not. But
I think, as what you said, I think the key to any success of any business, whether it's floral or not, it's passion.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you have the passion and the energy to do something that comes from your heart, and people will see that and they will appreciate that. And I think that is the key to success, whether you are a plumber, a gardener, a chef, or someone, I don't know, at the cashier. There's no difference in that. As long as you do your job with a certain heart, I think that is what you have to follow. And that's great. I mean, and it's great that also in South Africa, florists have the opportunity, because a lot might come from a different background. They possibly could not attend schools or training in the way that maybe in Europe it's possible. But here, if you want to, you can achieve that. Yeah. And with Instagram and social media, I mean, these days, you have an amazing platform where you can show people what you are capable of doing, wherever you come from, whatever is your background. And I think that's great that this is possible.
Yeah, this is a lot of opportunities for young people, and also for even more right now, black and colored young ladies mostly. They do like very different. They have a different style, and we can see so many love and passion for flowers in this country. And when we started bringing in different flowers to the market, people told us actually that they got back the joy. Yeah, exactly. To work with flowers, and not only having like a certain variety of flowers, a limited. Yeah, so that's why peonies and things like that is high on demand here. Yeah. And a lot of people don't even know that we can have peonies all around the year, because we source them also from Alaska, we source them from Europe, from Israel, from France, from very different corners of the world. Obviously, they are not having the same price all over the year, but at least they are available, you know. And if a bride comes and says in July or in November or in February, they want to have a bouquet of peonies, nobody has to say like in the past, no, that's not possible. So that makes also us very happy that we bring a bit more joy and happiness to our clients. And I think that drives us.
Isn't that amazing? We can connect on a global level and share flowers everywhere. That is like, this is amazing. Like 10 years ago, being a florist, you know, we had access to a lot, but it pales in comparison to what we have now. And, you know, that all is because everyone is sharing and selling. Sharing and selling.
Also, Instagram and all the social media, I mean, obviously, there is a lot of, like what we always say, is a lot of polished things, you know, and we are all part of this. And I must actually say, sometimes we are even thinking like we have to make some behind the scenes stories that people see, okay, this is not all just polished, you know, there's also work behind things. But I mean, we have in one of our next sessions, a young lady, and I remember she is a black florist. She started last year, middle of last year, and she called me a couple of times before her first event, and we discussed a lot of possibilities for the flowers and how she can do that and things like that. And she was quite nervous because it was her first job, her first wedding that she has done. And interesting enough, like when Elfie was in Dubai for Engage, she met her there. And we could see she was very interested in being educated, and being around people, like how she can learn. And so interesting, the other day we got to know her about, she was asking a stationery designer from New York, which was also on the summit, to create a new logo for her from Cici in New York. And
I know Cici.
Yes, and yesterday Cici actually introduced live the session, and I think this is so encouraging for a lot of our people, that they can see what is possible if you go out, if you like look above the plate, and not just be in your own little space, because this is not moving you forward.
Absolutely. There's so many people out there, and I know here in the United States we have lots of gatherings, lots of floral events, lots of wedding events, and it gives the opportunity for people to connect with designers that are connect in person with designers from all over the world. So in South Africa, do you have events like that?
Not really. We are still
one.
Yeah. As I said, we are very much in. We tried to organize things as we hosted like different designers, like Karen Grigolers, a couple of others. We have done. Maybe it's also an interesting thing for you to invite you for one of our rose safaris, because we do rose safaris every year to a farm in Kenya. One of the and every year we invite another floral designer. Last year we've been there with Ursula Maroni, the Italian floral designer, and she was the founder of he was the founder of McQueen in London. And this year we go with Timo Bolter, and we hope, we still hope, we don't know, the safari is scheduled for October. So it is a combination of teaching, experience a farm in Africa, and a little bit of a safari, because we afterwards go then to the Masai Mara, to all the wild animals in a camp day. So it is a floral experience together with an African experience. And I mean, whatever will bring the future,
we would love
to have
you on board.
And bring your son.
Yeah. Oh, he would love it. Love it.
Yeah. So that's the real Africa. Now he doesn't have to watch movies anymore. He can make his own movie.
Yes.
Well, when you are ready, I am on board, and I am pretty confident that there are lots of American designers that would love this. That just sounds incredible. There is a Kenyan garden rose company that I've been talking to. I cannot remember their name right now. Gosh, I can't remember their name, but when you're doing this, I'm on board.
Wonderful. Can I actually just go back maybe to your personal preferences, just one step back to your favorite flower? Do you have like a favorite flower or two or three, but like flowers that you really love to work with, that maybe bring you, like, that have certain characteristics, like also for people who really love to work with flowers as such, that you say, yeah, this is 1, 2, 3, maybe one of my favorites out of the whole variety that is available?
So my number one all-time favorite flower is the peony. I talk about it all the time. I love the peony. Um, another flower, which I don't call them like first favorite, second favorite. They're just favorites.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
All in one line.
They're all in one line. Another flower I really, really love to work with that people find surprising is alstroemeria. I love alstroemeria because it gives you some fullness. It looks like flowers and greenery together. It gives you lots of coverage, and it lasts. It holds up really, really well. Now, I don't like alstroemeria design like we see it here in the States at the grocery store. I don't like that. But I like using it in large scale pieces, in installations, in big floral arrangements. In fact, I have some alstroemeria and some bertia that I'll be working with later today.
Oh, wow. Do you cut off all the green, or do you use them also with the green, or you clean them up?
I do both. It really depends on the look I'm going for. I don't know what the trends have been in South Africa, but here in the United States, the trends have been lots and lots of greenery everywhere. And I am typically not a green heavy designer. That's just not, it's just not been the way that I have built my business, and it's not my personal style. But clients,
I said it's not your apron.
but because clients like greens so much, leaving the greens on the alstroemeria allows you to have both flowers and that greenery together. So I really like that. What else? I have another. Well, I use ranunculus all the time, but I don't know that it's my favorite. Poppies. I love poppies.
Yes, and they're very feminine as well, same as ranunculus. I mean, they are like it's like a dancing flower, sort of. Like it has a very, very unique character. Yes.
But then, okay, for real favorite, the English garden rose. I have a sweet spot for roses anyway, and the English garden rose with those varieties, the Japanese Wabara varieties that just open out like dinner plates. And then the David Austin roses that are like the teacups are really, really cool. Those are fantastic.
Yes. Wow.
Oh, wait, and I love orchids. I forgot about orchids. Oh, orchids. All right. I think that's it. Oh, I left out tulips. So I really do like tulips. You know, you can get double tulips and triple tulips that are all bursting out with blooms. A tulip is widely overlooked for how versatile it is and how you really can get them fairly easily, and they're usually not very expensive. So, yep, I love tulips too.
And sometimes you can even replace them like for peonies, because when you have these peony tulips and they bloom so big, they look like a real peony actually.
They do.
Struggling with real peonies, maybe.
Actually, because we are now talking about the peonies, there is one rose that calls actually peony pink. Have you ever come across that one?
I don't know. Who's it by? Who grows it? Do you know?
It's we have it grown here in Kenya, in Africa, from Chambuzi Rose Farm.
Chambuzi Rose Farm.
That's our farm, where we get all our garden roses from, and this looks like a real peony when it opens, and I can tell you the scent. You fall off your chair when you actually when you smell it. It's a beautiful sweet scent, and it opens like a peony.
That's why it's called pink peony, because the cup and the shape is just as a regular peony. Just that you have the bonus that, like when you have it in a bouquet, for example, in a bridal bouquet or something, the scent is just so beautiful.
And we recommend this as flower, as a sub for peonies. Sometimes we have times where the peonies may be 5 times more expensive than a rose, even that the rose is already expensive. But we have times where the peony is quite highly expensive. So we use this rose as a sub for pink peonies.
And the bride, and I mean the brides usually they don't know. They don't know.
But
like,
we tell them.
but
I mean, we tell
of
them.
course, no. I mean, they don't know whether it's a rose or a peony, as long as the look and feel is the same. But as soon as they smell it, yeah, it's really beautiful.
I will send you a picture with an opening process of this, so you can actually see how it will open.
Beautiful.
I cannot wait to get to South Africa. Like, our flight's open now. Can I get there next week?
Start walking. You will be here next year. Right?
I'm gonna have to swim.
Yes, and then we can show you the markets and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best outlook for us.
Yeah,
and
very
for
unexpected,
people,
but
yeah,
very nice.
and for people in South Africa or neighboring country, or for people who like for them maybe the South Africa was on the bucket list already. It would be a great opportunity to have you here.
People don't have to fear. I always hear that. This is also something I want to say. People don't have to fear, even if you hear a lot of what's happening maybe in South Africa, but normal tourists don't have to fear. There's actually not.
We have a very safe environment for tourists, and specifically, I mean, from the US, also in private, we get to ask that. Also from Europe, you know, is it safe in South Africa? Do you feel okay? Like, how would you recommend traveling? And for each and everyone, I would say if South Africa is not on your list of countries that you want to visit, you have to put South Africa on your list. We have beautiful people here. We have so friendly people, heartwarming. The landscape is beautiful.
The wine is good.
Yes, if you are coming in the right season, it's not cold. We have animals. We have the sea. We have mountains, and we have beautiful flowers.
And we have good food.
And we have good food too. Yes. So
okay, I'm gonna start looking right now.
We love to be ambassadors also for South Africa, for the country.
We are just Africans by
Germans,
heart.
yeah, we are Germans by birth, but we are South Africans by heart. And I think everyone who can experience South African hospitality, they should come, and we would welcome you with open arms.
Definitely.
That is wonderful. I actually, I kind of have been inspired during this live to do something for your designers in South Africa. You know, we talked about educating and building your knowledge during this time. I'm going to send you a certificate code to give everyone $100 that they can use on Intrigue Teaches to download the classes, the workshops on there, find something that will help teach them.
Thank you so much. I mean, I say thank you so much for all the florists out there that I know who are going to call us and like ask for something like this.
It's time for Africa.
No, thank you. It's so much appreciated. And I think, I think they're gonna love it. And now is the time, as you said, also the time is right to invest also maybe in education. And if it's, I mean, from an icon in the flower industry like you, I think it's very, very generous. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so special to have been hosted by South Africa. I feel like I'm hosted by the entire country.
Yes. And yes, I mean, I can just now, I'm blown away. Thank you so much for your generosity.
Thank you
Thank you so much for your trust as well. Trusting us to come on live with us. We just, I mean, it's beautiful. And we're just so excited now to see what will develop of this. We love you. I mean, we can just say you are a beautiful person inside out. We love your apron. We love your smile. We love your work. So thank you so much for allowing us to speak to you. Yes. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
And keep well, keep safe.
Bye, South Africa.